Fortune and Strife features subjects which can be uncomfortable for a general audience, such as the use of drugs and alcohol, poor treatment of people of different classes or cultures, adult situations, psychological trauma, deprivation, survival, natural disasters, and violence. Listener discretion advised. In addition, these next few episodes of the show contain cultural and historical content based upon the peoples of Asia and the Far East. We are coming at this from a place of respect and genuine interest and a love of these cultures, places, and history. We may not get it 100% right all the time, and we ask you to bear with us and give us the benefit of the doubt, and we would let us know when we get it wrong. We want to be an ally in dispelling Orientalism that has affected the Asian and Middle Eastern communities around the world. Welcome to Fortune and Strife. I am Robert, or Bayoshi Shinichi, and I'll be your host and narrator.
I am Chini, and I am playing Doji Gen.
I am Tyler, and I am playing Akoto Ricci.
Hi, I'm Eric Chalk, and I will be guesting in as Ide Minato.
Let's play some L5R in the Burning Sands.
Akoto-san, will this armor do for you? As some of the attendants and the what you have known to be kind of attendant shop workers in the past and have turned out to be low-ranking G samurai within the Unicorn Clan come and offer to replace your armor with some lacquered armor more befitting a battlefield commander and a man going into war than the dented and cut up and just awfully beaten Ashigaru armor that you've been wearing since your time in Rokugan through the sands, through your teleportation, and through conflicts here with the locals. It might be time for you to put that to rest and let them help you out here.
And it is a very generous offer. But Ricci's going to just wave his hand a little bit and say, "No, this armor's done well enough for me. We want to stay light during this upcoming skirmish. So I very much appreciate the offer and the concern. But this armor's done well for me, and I see no reason to change it out so far."
Very very well then. We'll go ahead and pack this back up then. But do be careful out there. Remember that we're all depending on you.
Oh yes, the gravity of the situation still weighs upon me.
And kind of with that, Utaku Anjin kind of strides forward to from the caravan as it's breaking camp and getting everything packed up and everyone's gearing. Your armor has seen better days.
It very much has. Thanks to Doji's ministrations, it's holding up fairly well. And I'd like to carry this armor back into Rokugan if possible, wearing it if I can.
Do you need someone to take a look at it then, see if they might be able to get it back to rights?
No, I trust Doji's skill with the needle as much as I do with her words.
Well, fair enough then. Fair enough. So, everything that's been going on, I've been thinking a lot about what we've talked about when it comes to my mother and you witnessing her deeds on the battlefield. And well, I'm I'm supposed to be the one of the best they have here is for defending others, but I'm not much of a commander, of a leader. I've never led forces in a thunderous charge to victory or anything like that. Partly in due to my mother's reputation back home, but also in my duties here within the Burning Sands, having to clandestinely maintain our cover within the Caliphate. And well, you've seen it. You've witnessed it. You've told me that She committed great deeds in battle, that she led honorable charges of warriors to heights of glory that, well, I can never hope to attain with the position that I have here. And what I'm trying to say is that perhaps this will suit you better than it has me. And she hands you well, it's a fabric bundle in a way to think of it. It's kind of reminds you of the way that people would store in Obi, but then a few moments later you put it together that this is a sashimono just wrapped around a central dowel, kind of like a bit of a oversized scroll.
I was wondering how this was going to work, but this should help out, at least guide the caravan along and guide the forces along on who's doing this. So I will graciously accept this for this battle.
No, I think if you wear this in this battle and you get us through this, it is yours. My mother gave that to me when I attained the rank here of Master of Arms for the caravan, but I think it'll suit you better as a commander for those to see a unicorn banner waving, to know where their commander is.
This has been in your family for generations now.
Well, at least
There's no way I can take this.
it's only been at least one or two. She had it made when she fought against your clan years ago. Not like it's an heirloom or anything like that.
But this is something that reminds you of her. This it's I again, I will use this for this skirmish, but I will return it back to you when we are in Rokugan.
We make it back to Rokugan, we can discuss it then. I, I appreciate it, and in the meantime, here and let me at least help you affix it to your dough to your breastplate.
And that would be very much appreciated.
So she has the small. It should be bamboo poles, but it seems to be some other thin, light wood that they've used here in the burning sands. She's brought with her, and she shapes it into the kind of traditional kind of pole with crossbar at the top. Uh, your armor has kind of a bit of a ring in the back to help secure it there, or at least to keep it centered. And she takes some silk cord and ties it around to your shoulders and across the back, secures it there, and then as you kneel down and she unwraps and unrolls the sashimono off its dowel and places it upon the poles there. And yes, you are now outfitted with a unicorn otaku sashimono here. Uh, Kind of depicts a unicorn mon followed by a kind of the blank otaku one. And as you stand back up and take your place among on your horse and ride towards the cohort, the sun catches it, and you hear Anjin give a gasp as the light kind of catches it, and uh, even in the still air of the encampment here on the desert road, uh, it seems that a small wind kind of catches to the Sashimono, and but I mean, unfortunately, it's right behind you. You can't see the transformation, but Anjing is witness to it, as well as some of the other unicorn amongst the camp, as the colors shift and it changes from the blank utaku mon beneath the unicorn to the mon of the Akodo. It now bears the dual clan colors and shapes and iconography of your family and the unicorn clan as a whole. And people are now in awe and reverence by this miracle they've witnessed with their own eyes as the ink and colors and paints used to decorate the Sashimono now seem to move with a life of their own as the spirits within take shape and acknowledge your presence as commander of these forces. You feel a surge of both confidence but also desire for to do battle. You feel the confidence of Akodo, but also the quiet stillness of the Otaku, the fiery rage of the Matsu, the compassion of the Shinjo. That's these thoughts and ideas come merging into your head. You are filled with fleeting images and words and voices for just a few moments, your imagination, but you kind of hear the words of commanders in times past and soldiers acknowledging orders, and you feel as if you're ready, or at least you hope you are. You can live up to these thoughts that fill your head.
Thank you, Itaku-san. I think it is time.
I think you're right. I think it is our time, and she is filled with confidence and or at least an assuredness that wasn't there before. She no longer seems worried and distant and upset as she was before, despite her conflicts with uh, Irelir and everything that has been going on in the past of her family, as well as this entire situation. She seems ready and capable and determined as if she wasn't before, and as if she can stand up straighter than she had before. The defeatist that nature that had kind of overtaken her since you've pretty much met her in the streets of the city of books. Alzawira has has just evaporated from her.
All right, let's mount up.
Right, and with that, get to our mass battle. All right, so you are going to start on one end of the sand road, and you are trying to make it to the other side without getting overwhelmed by the pursuing forces of the Caliphate. From the spear of the Prophet, the vanguard of uh, the Sultan's forces, is in hot pursuit. You've already fought them off in a short skirmish some short time ago, and you realize you got to make as good a time as you can. Um, they have identified a pass that they would like to try and get to before they are overrun or surrounded by the forces of the Caliph. So we're gonna try and maneuver that way. You guys are gonna start on the map here on the on the western side, and try to make your way east as quickly as possible. And uh, the Caliphate forces will move on to the map starting next turn. So with mass battles, things are a little different, and we're going to be using the new rules from Fields of Victory for battle zones. So they're going to be even newer and even more different. Um, if that's going to make any real sense there. So in mass battles, things are going to work quite a bit differently. Um, First off, we have to state are our commanders. For the spear uh, of the prophet, it is going to be led by Monsieur, the defender of the prophet. He is going to be the overall commander of the forces arrayed against you. He's going to have the responsibility of making strategic decisions and kind of dictating the flow of battle, as it were. With Ricci, you have been nominated to be the commander of the Unicorn Forces in place of Ulu or Anjing, as we dealt with last time. In addition to that, we need to know who is going to play leaders under you, or your sub commanders. In this case, that's going to be Minato and Gen, and the sub commanders are less important. They're going to just be fairly basic NPCs. I haven't really named them just yet, but they're going to be the leaders of cohort 1 and cohort 2 effectively. I haven't come up with the full names I want to give those forces just yet, but if I do, I'll let you know. So with that, everyone's going to have a cohort. A cohort is just a sub part of the army. It's your forces under you. Each person doesn't need to worry about controlling their own individual cohort or what its stats are or things like that, because effectively everyone is the same. The army is fairly uniform, as it were, although armies at this time were slightly varied and whatnot. It's not as regimented as kind of more modern militaries are, but even still, for the most part, you have light infantry, heavy infantry. Those guys are going to each be kitted out differently, but and fairly similarly, but they might have individually different weapons. Someone in the light infantry might want to use a sword versus a spear and whatnot. For the most part, that's less important. Individual weapons is less important as much as it is what is the overall kind of vibe of that unit's going to be. And then even from that, it's all about the army as a whole. We set up our roles when we mustered. For you guys, you have a strength of your army of 58 and a discipline of 52. Meanwhile, the forces for the spear of the prophet, they have a strength of 80. Just they can pull together just so many more men than you can. So they have almost a third more strength than you do. But unfortunately, in the hurry to get things together and the competing politics within the Sultan's court and the confusion over just what is going on, because this is happening just so quickly, that when they had to muster, they were only able to get a discipline of 13. So their forces are confused, disorganized, distrustful of each other, or at least not used to working together. Everyone's been kind of thrown together ad hoc. And this Vanguard force is, while moving quickly, they're not all, they don't have it all together there. So that is at least an advantage that you guys have, is that with a discipline of 50, it's a lot harder to break your force, because that there's nowhere else for you to run. You have to get back to Rokugan. You guys are also much more cohesive as a cultural group, and everyone is here working together to save their own lives and to return home. So yeah, discipline is high and discipline is good. It's going to be much harder to break your forces than it is theirs, at least in that regard.
That is the strength of the Rokugani will.
There you go. Yes, through pure strength of will, we will carry ourselves to victory, which is good. There's a couple of ways that you're going to do damage in mass battles. So when armies clash and fight, like I said, you're not worrying about your own individual cohorts and the army attacks as a whole. So let's say that if Dojigen and her cohort engages one part of the army and does so much damage there, and then Minato does another attack over there and does X amount of damage, and Ricci then hits him for a third time. Well, all those damages add up to do damage to the whole of the Caliphate's army. So you would do attrition equal to all three of your attacks, whatever your damage happened to be, and then that would all be added together. You get your attrition added up, and if attrition ever exceeds their strength at the end of a round of mass combat, the army routs in a panic. Everyone turns and flees. People are able to run each other down, trampled by their own forces or the enemy, stabbed in the back, all that terrible things that happen in a disorganized rout. The enemy flees, and everyone in the army takes a level severity 12 crit, which is bad. Means if you get no successes, that is dying in 3 rounds. It's rough. You don't want that. With that, there's an alternative way to try and win a mass battle. You can get your panic or their panic to exceed their discipline. If panic exceeds the discipline of an army by the end of a round of mass combat, in that case, then the army goes into a morale collapse and everyone no longer trusts each other. They're not willing to stick their neck on the line to go face each other in combat or charge the enemy. And they just kind of stand back and aren't really willing to do anything. And they're willing to let the enemy walk away if the enemy is willing to let them walk away. Enemy NPCs and PCs can just leave. No one takes any crits. And the side that suffered morale collapse loses, and the other side wins the day. And everyone can go home, as it were. Then there's a third way to win, which is by strategic victory, which is where you are able to secure enough strategic objectives over the map and to force the enemy to leave or surrender just because you have strategically outmaneuvered them by seizing key locations, fighting positions, castles, surrounding them, just outmaneuvering them in general. Those are the 3 ways that you can win and lose a mass battle. But it's all about what you're doing to the army as a whole. So effectively think of it as if you are all commanding one character, the army, and the army is taking damage and doing things, and you all share the same body, as it were, when it comes to the army. So it's less about your individual stuff than it is what the army can do. But what can you do as an individual? Well, you can lead people into actions with your cohort. Cohorts can have sometimes special abilities, which can allow them to do different things, such as the cavalry cohort can do additional panic when attacking, and also can leave combat without taking panic by retreating, because cavalry can make hit and run attacks, and that's its real strength there, which is always nice. I think that is some of the best descriptions I can give of cohorts and armies and the difference they're in and how you're going to use them. There are fortifications. In this case, the fortifications aren't going to be big castles or whatnot. They're mostly going to be what they call outposts and or woods and defensive terrain. So sometimes like just rock formations in the desert, as well as small urban areas that you can take and try to hold a position. These help by reducing the attrition that you take every turn that you are occupying them, as well as they give a difficulty value that the enemy has to exceed to push you out of it, if you wanted to try and hold a defensive position. Let's see. Next thing to bring up would be strategic objectives. Every turn of a mass battle, or at least at the start of a mass battle, I should say, a commander is going to pick a strategic objective. They have a couple of sample ones, like cut off the head, capture a position, seize victory, grind them down, draw them in, of different types of tactics that you can use. And while the strategic objective is on, it will say when it is fulfilled, and what will happen when it is fulfilled. So let's just take a look at one here called cut off the head. The commander calls for the army to corner and kill a particular enemy leader in the enemy force. Having identified the person as a serious impediment to victory, the difficulty value to corner a particular enemy leader is better in battle is equal to is equal to their focus attribute. So that's how much momentum or successes you have to get to track them down. How to achieve it: after a leader performs an attack action against an enemy leader's cohort, the army accrues 3 momentum points towards this objective. So let's say they have a focus of 7. That would require you to get 3 of these attack actions against an enemy leader's cohort to wear them down to the point that you can get like at the enemy to literally cut the head off of an enemy commander. When the enemy accrues momentum points equal to or exceeding the difficulty value to corner the leader, the character who accrued the last momentum point may perform a finishing blow on the target as if they were fighting in a duel. The objective can be fulfilled if one of the enemy's leaders is able to kill the enemy leader in a clash via the challenge action. And upon completion, when a leader completes a strategic objective against an enemy leader, the enemy army suffers 10 panic. When a leader completes this objective against the enemy commander, the enemy army suffers 20 panic instead. So yeah, if you can get in there and kill a cohort's leader or even the enemy commander, it's going to unsettle the entire army as a whole. For 10 or 20 panic is pretty high, especially when the the entire spear of the prophet has 13 and you have 52. You could see how killing Ricci would knock off 20, would give 20 panic right there if that was to happen, which would be a big chunk, almost half of your entire discipline there.
Yeah, I'm going to need to help. I'm going to need help on preventing that.
Yeah. So strategic objectives are once you pick one, it stays in play until it is completed, or at the beginning of another round, I believe a commander can choose to drop one and switch to another. But they are kind of like ongoing status effects and objectives you're trying to complete. And when you do, you get a extra special benefit out of it. So for initiative assessment, you'll be doing a TN1 command check in this regard. It's going to be standard initiative after that. You'll take turns. Each cohort can take an action and do their thing. But it will be commanders determine their order. So phase 2, the commander of the higher initiative result determines the army if their army makes the first move or waits. If the commanders have the same initiative result, the one with the lower honor must have their army make the first move. Then starting with the army that makes the first move, the commander nominates one of their leaders who has not acted yet that round to act, alternating back and forth until all leaders have acted. So yeah, initiative is slightly different. It's commanders go, commanders nominate. So in this case, Ricci would say, "I'm gonna go." All right, cool. Gen goes. All right, Minato goes. And whatnot. And Ricci doesn't have to go first. He can also pick one of the you two to go first. It could be Gen, Minato, and then Ricci. But the commander is the one who's going to now pick the initiative order as things go. At the beginning of each round, each commander chooses a strategic objective for that round. If they are not sure what to do, the PCs may make a TN tactics check to figure out what could be done to get the upper hand, all that good stuff. And then we get into some of the new special rules. So there is the challenge action that you can take, which is going to be a way to get in and make a command check to challenge someone to a duel, a clash, as it were. So you can kind of get into some of those classic samurai fiction tropes of dueling a enemy commander one-on-one on the battlefield for who's going to come out ahead and win. Very popular one with the Crane and the Kenshinzen. The Kakita love this stuff. This is what they live for and die for. They wander through the battlefield and come up and challenge enemy commanders and heroes. Kind of the bread and butter is going to be the assault action. This is like strike action in a skirmish. It's going to be your basic way of attacking the enemy. It's an attack and movement action. That is the TN2 tactics check to lead your troops into combat. Where you will then do attrition equal to your ranks in command plus your bonus successes. So command is going to be an important trait here in mass battle, as you would kind of expect it to be. The other two key actions that are special to mass battles are going to be rally, where you command your troops to regroup and support an allied contingent. As a support action, you make a TN1 command check targeting one friendly leader's cohort. If you succeed, your army removes one panic plus one additional panic per bonus success. And if you succeed or fail, the target counts as having assistance. So this is how you can try to keep your panic low, which is probably going to be an action that the Spear of the Prophet takes quite a bit here. And then there is reinforce. You call upon your troops to dig in and hold a position at all costs. As a movement and support action, you make a TN2 tactics check to have your cohort dig in at one chosen position. If you succeed, the TN of attack actions targeting you, your cohort increases by one plus one additional one per bonus success. The effect persists for one round. It's a lot like the guard action, but for yourself. And if you choose an unoccupied fortification or piece of terrain this way, you are considered to be occupying it until you narratively leave it, or you perform an action other than challenge or reinforce. So those are the key actions and things. Oh, I forget. There is one new key action from Fields of Victory, since we are using um, the combat zone, the battle zones rules, and that is going to be March. Um, Before, you could pretty much move freely all over the battlefield in mass battles. Luckily, what they've done is they've changed a little bit of that with battle zones, and you now have to take a specific action to move and march you around the battlefield. So, march is like the maneuver action from a skirmish. As a movement action, you may reposition your cohort. You may make a TN3 command check to move further. To move your cohort to, so you can move one zone perfectly fine. Just pick up your forces and move them over one zone in the on the map. But if you want to move more, you can make a TN3 command check, and if you made the command check and succeeded, you may then move your cohort one additional time to an additional zone, plus one additional time for every 3 bonus successes. So, if you were somehow able to get 6 successes on a command check, um, which I guess you could do with fire more easily than others, you can really start moving yourself around the board, and take advantage of all that cool unicorn speed. Um, so I think that covers most of what we need to know about mass battles. I know it was a lot of information all at once, but it's good to just kind of get it out there, get it in your minds, look where it was at in the books, and we'll do our best to keep it in mind, because this is probably one of the least used mechanics in the game, or conflict types in the game. So it's going to be new for a lot of people, but we'll do our best to keep it all straight. And with that, the unicorn mount their steeds, ready their weapons, get the caravan moving, get their carts all in order, and they start to move down the sand road. Friends and lovers embrace, and hope to see them again at the end of all of this. But no one knows but the kami at this point, what'll happen at the end of the day. With that, let's go ahead and go with initiative in mass battles, because as I said, the commanders kind of choose the order of operations and who goes when and who goes where. The initiative is simplified in that just the commanders need to roll. So we're going to go ahead and have Seer and Ricci make their respective checks. This is going to be a TN1 command check.
All right. I rolled on fire. So I had a fire of 3 and command of 3, and we'll keep this along with 3 successes and 1 strife.
All right, sounds good. Meanwhile, I got 2 opportunities on an air assessment. Let's see here. Ricci, you have to disclose a disadvantage of your choice to your old friend, the defender of the faith there, old Monsieur.
Ooh, okay.
And that can be a anxiety or an adversity.
I think we're going to go with one that's a little more interesting. So he recalls that at one point in Rokugan there is someone that is a sworn enemy against Ricci, who is
Ooh,
also
okay.
a failed tactician.
Fair enough. I like that. A failed tactician as an arch nemesis. And then for their other one, oh, what is your current strife?
My current strife is 8.
There we go. Current is Oh, is that because it just went up?
Yeah, I just got the 1 strife from my initiative check.
Got it. Okay. There we go. All right. So, yeah, he's able to determine that um, you're kind of running hot, and that you have a tactician rival back home in Rokugan. That this is not going to be an easy battle with someone who is experienced with going up against someone who has an analytical mind. All right, I like that. How about you? Did you have any opportunities you'd like to spend?
No opportunities rolled,
All right.
which is
Uh,
very unfortunate. I had some ideas.
I get you. All right. So for this turn, what would you like to do for your what do you call it? Your strategic objective.
Our strategic objective, I am planning on drawing them in. So
Got it.
for people that want to know what we're going to be planning, um, to draw them in, we have to basically pull them into a certain location and then get ready for a massive counterattack against the enemy. So what the way we're going to do that is that every time they attack us and we suffer 3 or fewer casualties, we get a momentum point. And if we successfully challenge or accept a challenge from the enemy, we also gain another momentum point. If we get a number of momentum points equal to the enemy commander's vigilance, the enemy will then suffer 5 panic and double all attrition the army takes on the next round.
Very cool. All right. Um, they are going to start with a grind them down. They're just going to try and just overwhelm you with numbers at this point and just wear you away as best they can. So with that one, the enemy leader performs an attack action against the enemy leader's cohort. The enemy accrues 1 momentum point per casualty the enemy army suffers, effectively per point of attrition that you take. Fulfilled when the strategic objective is fulfilled after the army accrues momentum points equal to the enemy commander's glory rank plus its ranks in command. Upon completion, when a leader completes this objective, the enemy suffers 10 panic. All right. So those are our objectives.
Just
And
as a note, I
mhm.
have 72 glory currently,
Oh my
plus
goodness,
3 ranks of command. They're going to need 10 momentum points to succeed.
that is a lot.
Yeah, we're going to draw them in and then grind them down because we can get double attrition on them after the draw them in. So
Mhm.
that's the 1-2 punch we're aiming for right now.
There you go. All right. So with that, you all have um, the first turn effectively. Ricci, you can determine your initiative order.
Okay, for our initiative, I want it to be Gen, then Minato, then myself,
There you go. All right. Again,
and we'll take the first move.
sure.
Okay. Well, my initial plan was, or my orders were to take this very small unit of unicorn and be running to deliver our orders. So we are good ones to take the point on drawing them in because we look like bait. We will be charging off and making it apparent to everyone that we are charging off and hoping that they follow us and lure us in. That's the goal. So with that in mind, I plan on trying to march.
Got it. All right. So March, you can either get one zone, or you can attempt to make the TN3 check to go multiple zones.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am going to march.
And
Efficiently?
as a
Mhm.
reminder, we are in open terrain currently, so your TN is reduced by 1 on any movement-based checks.
Okay.
Yes, because it's based on the terrain that you're in when you start the maneuver, not the one that you end in. Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, then we will give it a shot to march, and we are marching defensively because we do not want to be tripped off by anything else, and maybe be somewhat reassuring to Ricci because he needs to keep it together. So let's see how I do. Okay, TN3 command.
TN2 command because you're on a road.
TN2. Okay, in Earth. I fail.
Do you have any advantages that might work here?
Uh, Not really.
Yeah, it's like I know you have a horse, but I don't know if you have any horse riding or maneuvering type advantages here. So,
I
um,
do not, and my horse is very good, so I'm not quite able to do that. However, I do get uh I do keep an opportunity, okay?
okay,
And therefore I will use my opportunity to uh bring down Ricci's Strife by 2. All
there
right?
you go.
Oh, that is
And
appreciated.
all right. And since I failed, I don't know if I can use this one, but if I failed, could potentially spend the other opportunity I got to grant assistance to the next person doing something similar. Is that allowed?
Absolutely, that's allowed. That would, yeah, yeah. The Gen might not have got the oomph and the charge and the speed out of her horses that she wanted, but it's spurring others on to realize that they really got to move if they're going to try and get as far as they want to. All right,
Okay,
so
so I will take the strife and 2 opportunities and spend 1 to bring down Ricci's strife by 2 and 1 to give assistance to the next person doing something similar.
excellent, and then you can go ahead and move your cohort one battle zone.
All right, I will move my cohort 1 battle zone. This does take it into uh I can keep it in the open terrain, so I guess I can do that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
Gin starts to
going down the
maneuver
road.
down the sand road and starts to come upon a curve in the road, a bit of a horseshoe bend that'll go around a small settlement that seems to have mostly been abandoned out here in the desert. All right. So that was the first initiative. Because we don't have any Caliphate forces on the board just yet, Ricci, your second initiative for the turn was supposed to go to Minato, I believe.
Correct.
All right, Minato, what would you like to do?
I would also like to march my forces and take advantage to get superior positioning on the map.
There you go. All right, since you're the next one doing it, you can go ahead and get assistance. So, do you have command skilled or unskilled again?
I have skilled.
All right, skilled assistance, which means you'll roll an extra white die and then keep an extra die in total at the end.
And I will do this with air
All
or
right,
earth.
with Earth, okay. All right, do you have any advantages that might key in here for maneuver or horsemanship
Um,
or command even?
I don't think in this situation I do.
Fair enough. All right.
All right, so Edie Minato is going to take the smart tactical decision to try and get into some more advantageous terrain before the enemy arrives on the map. They will get enough successes to move 2 range bands, but no opportunities. But they are going to go first to here, and then up to here to take this elevated terrain.
That is recessed, I thought. Purple.
Correct. Purple is recessed.
Yeah.
Light
It just
was
means that anything targeting you while you're in there is easier. But if there's no enemies, then it should be fine.
I could have gone to here and then to here to get elevated, right?
Absolutely.
Oh,
That
yeah,
I will do.
totally.
And
All
that'll
right.
end my turn.
Ricci, your cohort.
All right. We're going to go ahead and maneuver our way as well. We're going to go ahead and go into a small little confining area. So Ricci's going to start guiding his forces into the little canyon area right ahead.
All right, so it's just gonna be a march for just one movement. You
Uh,
don't, you
we're,
don't even have to, you don't even have to
yep,
check for that. You
we're
can
not
just.
even going to roll. We're just going to march right on in.
Mhm. In fact, if you did that in water, you can take another additional action if you wanted that. It was checked.
Oh, yeah. Actually, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do switch over to the water stance. We'll do the free march on in, and then for a check, we're going to reinforce this area.
Let me make sure. So it is, yeah, march is just a movement, and then is reinforce.
Reinforce. Oh, is movement and support. Never mind. Can't do that.
That's what I was afraid of. I was like, is it movement also or not? Yeah.
Then you know what? Let's see. Can I make a tactics check against the enemy commander's vigilance to see exactly what they're planning on doing?
Absolutely.
So I'm currently in water, and as a reminder, I still have this wound on my back that is
Oh, you're still lightly wounded water.
I am
Got it.
still lightly wounded in water. So whatever the TN is, it's going to be +1.
All right. So you wanted to what is the you wanted to target their what again? Or like you describe
Their
the
vigilance.
their vigilance. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, it's my tactics versus their vigilance, and I'm trying to see what they're planning.
Would you like to do this blind for a void point, or would you like to know the TN?
I'll know the TN on this one.
5.
Okay, is that the 4+1 or is it 5+1?
No, 4+1.
4+1, perfect. So their vigilance is 4. That is very helpful information for me.
Absolutely. That's why you try to hide it by tempting them with the void point.
Well, I'm full on void right now.
Yeah. No. Which I mean, I guess you could have used it to enhance this roll here, but I understand why you wouldn't. Sometimes that information is more valuable.
You know what? I'm just gonna do that. So my roll was less than stellar, because that's a lot of strife I don't want to deal with at the moment, especially for the first round of this combat. So I'm only
Yeah.
going to keep a single opportunity,
There you are. All right.
and the opportunity is going to reveal itself as Arichi just takes a little bit more of a calming stance. He's astride a unicorn horse, leading a unicorn cohort to help them get back to Rokugan. Somehow this just feels right. I'm going to recover 2 strife off of that.
There you go. I'm gonna go ahead and put the caravan as mostly with Ricci right here.
Okay.
Yeah. As you're trying to draw them in, you might as well use the bait of your of the main bulk of the army, as it were. There. Okay. So that is you guys. All right, that was the first round. We are going to go into the second round. I guess we should have also figured out what was each other's focuses and whatnot for our full initiative to figure out who was actually higher initiative or not last round. But
I don't think you need that actually.
uh,
It never
let's see.
says it.
Do we not add? Do we not add it? We just make the command. Just the basic command check. Maybe that's why I didn't even say it then. All right, fair
Yeah.
enough. Good to know. Well then, in that case, it is Yeah, their action is just to move on with that first round. So second round, your initiative is still superior, which means that we determine whether you want to move first or whether you want to go second, right?
Yes, and we will continue to act first.
All right, you'll continue to act first. And what order would you like to do? What's your order of operations for your cohorts?
This go around, we're going to do Gin, myself, then Monado.
Sounds good. Um, we will go with the just so you know, the cavalry cohort and then the archery or mounted archery cohort for the spear of the prophet will be going in that order. So again, you may go first. Then it'll go to the melee. Then it'll go to Ricci. Then it'll go to the archers, and then it'll go to Minato. All right, Gin, take it away.
All right. I am going to try and do a march again to put as much distance as I can. And we'll see how I do. I am going to go ahead and use a void approach on this particular march because I am trying to play bait still. I've hung behind. I'm sacrificing to be bait-like. Whether I intentionally intended to hang behind, I don't know. But that's what we'll do this time. Okay?
All right.
And I'm still in open terrain?
You are in open terrain. You are on the road.
Okay. I had to get 2 successes. I got 2 successes, a strife and an opportunity. I will choose a ring other than void. I will choose water and to reduce the TN of my next check if by 1 if it uses that ring. So I'll pick water
Good.
with my opportunity. And I am pushing through this confining terrain that's ahead of me and onto the open terrain on the other side. Trying to weave my way down this road and get to where I need to be.
Well, as a
Further.
note, so that's still within the same zone right there. There's just 2
Oh, okay.
overlapping. So
Oh, okay.
one would be if you went to move up 1 more zone, that would be 1 movement.
Okay.
So that's 1, and then if you'd like to go to any other zone kind of adjacent to that, you can.
All right. It was a funky shaped zone. I wasn't
It
sure.
was.
So.
It was absolutely.
All right. So I will act from there, I suppose.
Yeah. No, you make good time now that you're finally getting used to being in the saddle again, and with a horse that is much faster and let's say less stubborn and ornery than the one you might be used to working with. You're able to finally make some real good movement as you just kind of put your heels into it, and everyone with you starts to make great time, and you are now well ahead of everyone else down the path here. All right, easy squeezy comes the cavalry boys. That's their action. I mean, unfortunately, to assault is a movement and attack action, so they can't do both, even in water if they wanted to. So they just move in and whatnot. So that's them. All right, Ricci.
Okay. We're going to switch on over to our Earth stance, and we shall fortify this location with a reposition. Or I'm sorry, a reinforce, not reposition.
Yep.
So what that's looking like is the enemy cavalry is charging in, and we've started to form up kind of like a reversed V. So they're kind of getting brought in order to engage us. They're having to come into our actual formations here.
Got it. Yeah, I
So,
like it.
so we're kind of setting up and bracing ourselves for a charge, even though we're also on horseback. So it's looking
Sure.
a little
But taking
little
them
awkward.
taking them into a funnel. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, you're
Yep.
gonna the further they get to, if they want to assault, they're gonna wind up having to be attacked on multiple sides. Yeah, I like that.
Yep. Yep. And the other side is that we're also going to be hanging down a little bit lower so that our friends over in this elevated range can shoot down upon the enemy.
Got it.
So this fortification with this reinforce is a TN2 tactics. Okay, so the result of that check, we got 4 successes and 1 strife. It actually worked out fairly well. So the strife is understandably fine there. So what that does is it gives any attack action targeting this cohort is increased by 1, plus 1 for an additional 2 successes or 2 bonus successes. So anything that targets us is going to be increased by 2. And we're in that confining terrain, so only they have to come into us. They cannot move through us.
Yes, they cannot run around. There's no place else for them to go. They have to hit you or go around you. All right. Very good. All right. With that, we move into the second Kamaris cohort, which is an archer cohort, which is going to make an assault action against you. And so you say that it went up by 2, so it's a TN4 that they have to hit now.
Correct.
That's a little rough. They're not even in good terrain for that. Why'd you do that?
Strategy.
Exactly. All right. What stance are you in? You are in Earth, you said,
Earth.
right?
Yep.
I can't even crit you. Although I don't know if there's any crits in this one. I don't
No, because there's no crits on. There's no opportunities on assault.
Yep. All right. So then it doesn't really matter. They will go to fire stance. They got to hit that 4 if they can. Oh no, because it won't work unless they hit 4 anyway.
They have to hit the 4. Yeah.
4 anyways. Well, this way, if they hit the 4, they're going to hit the 4 big.
See, ideally, what I should have done is gone into air stance and done the same thing.
Right.
Because then it would have been 5, which is ridiculous.
The mounted archers of the Kamaris take aim and let loose with just a horrendous torrent of arrows. And it's like every single shot seems to find their mark as they wind up with 4 successes, but 5 strife on a fire check, giving them 9 total successes of 5 bonus successes. They wind up doing 7 attrition worth of damage to you in this opening salvo of arrows. They take they take 5 strife. It is definitely not an insubstantial thing. They pay a cost for this maneuver, but they will put 2 strife onto Ricci, and then they will spend another 1 to increase the TN of the next check they make before the end of the next scene if it doesn't include them as a target. And then they'll spend 1 to reduce the strife they took on this action by 1, so they'll only take 4 instead of 5. And that's us. Monado, it goes to you.
All right. So using the advantage that the height is giving them, they are going to order their cohort to just unleash a volley of arrows into the adjacent zone. And because Ricci's forces have taken sort of defensive positions and the few remaining buildings, they're just going to pelt the area with arrows, and the hopes that all of their comrades are going to be nice and secure and defended, and just rain hell down on their enemies.
I like it. All right. So because you're on elevated terrain, that's going to give you, I believe, a -1 TN to your ranged attacks. So it's a TN2, which becomes a TN1 command check to do the assault action.
But I think it goes back up to TN2 because I'm attacking 1 zone away.
Let me double check to make absolutely sure, but that might be correct.
That is correct. Archers, under the battle zone rule, while in elevated terrain, this cohort can perform assault actions targeting cohorts in an adjacent zone, increasing the TN of the check by 1. However, while performing an assault action targeting a cohort in an adjacent zone, this cohort cannot fulfill the following strategic objectives. Capture position, cut off the head, seize victory. It can still contribute momentum points to these objectives, it just cannot be the action to complete them.
You need boots on the ground to actually complete, but you have to. So it goes down by 1, up by 1. So yeah, you just maintain a TN2 to shoot one zone away and let loose hell on them.
I'm fine with that.
Loose.
Oh, and I'm going to do this in water.
Okay. Oh, real quick, Richie, you actually were in defensive terrain, were you not?
We're in confining.
But you're also in a fortification, as it were, for the defensive terrain. Like I said, for that area, the confining terrain is a feature that does this. So you reduced the attrition you took by 1, so you actually took 6 instead of 7.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, it matters because that also means that they accrued 6 momentum towards their goal because it's per a point of attrition that you took.
Yeah.
So it does matter. So yeah, it's good to keep it up on what the number is there.
All right, I will get 2 successes, 1 strife, and 1 advantage.
I'm sorry, how many successes?
2.
2 successes. Hey, that's what you needed. So that's
Mhm.
going to do, I think, your attrition equal to your ranks in command.
I only have 2 ranks in command.
That's all right. That's still two casualties out of 80. And I forget, does that get you guys momentum for this, or what is the momentum condition for draw them in again?
We have to be targeted by an attack and suffer 3 or fewer casualties.
Got it. Okay.
Additionally, for every accepted challenge that is made, that also gives us a momentum. And it's a challenge either given or received, specifically.
And how many momentum do you need for that one again? I'm sorry.
We need their vigilance. So in this regard, 4.
It's not bad. Okay.
Yeah, we haven't gotten any points though because we just suffered a large attack.
The
Yeah.
first one was the big one. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that was kind of the idea, was going in fortifying so that we take as few casualties as possible to
absolutely.
build up that. Yeah. Oh well.
Did not expect my to come out swinging as big as it was there. Yeah.
All right. But you got to swing back.
Mm-hmm.
And I imagine Monado, as represented through what's going to happen with the strife here, is going through a lot emotionally, because he'll get 1 strife from this, which I imagine is probably him doing danger close firing into his friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will use my opportunity, because we're in water, to remove 2 strife, thus feeling vindicated that he seemed to have caused no friendly casualties. But I'm also soft-hearted, and then it will just sort of dawn on him that he just had a group of men fire to another group of men.
Oh no!
And it's responsible for probably a few people not coming home today. So he'll gain a strife, lose 2 strife, and then gain 3 strife.
But you'll gain a void point, so
and I will gain a void point.
That'll get you up there, yeah. All right. Looking dicey for old Monado up there on the strife counter. Okay. Well, I think that is the end of our round of combat. With that, the caravan is going to move down the road between all 3 of you there. As a note, the enemy can't go around Ricci, so or can't go through Ricci, and so even if they wanted to chase you guys down, they can at this point. I'm Robert, or Bayushi Shinichi, your host and narrator, thanking you once again for listening. Remember to catch new episodes every Monday. If you want to catch them early or are looking for more bonus content, please consider becoming a supporting member of the Patreon at patreon.com/courtgames.
I am Tyler, and I've been playing Akoto Ricci. You can find me on my personal accounts on Twitter at Churcher Games or on Twitch, also as Churcher Games. You can find the show on the web at courtgamespod.com, on social media platforms such as Facebook and Instagram under Fortune and Strife, and on Twitter at L5RFNS. If you would like to contact us, you can email the show at fortuneandstrife@gmail.com.
This is Jeannie, aka Kikita Kaori, and also known as, at least today, Doji Gen. You can find me at my blog at the Winter Garden of the Kikita website, along with helpful materials for the RPG, and also on Twitter at White Veils or on Facebook. If you like, I am also found on the Court Games RPG podcast as a writer for Emerald Legacy, or check out The Table Is Yours for fiction readings of the FFG stories.
Hi there, I'm Eric Schock, and I will be guesting as Ide Minato.
This has been Fortune and Strife, a Court Games production in association with D20 Radio Network and the Rokugani Historical Society.
Correctly with the correct amount.
D20 Radio, where gamers roll.
www.d20radio.com